Since all of you will be studying abroad, let's talk about one of the most integral components of your international experience, academics. Studying abroad at a foreign institution can seem like a confusing and complex process, but this module will help you understand the academic policies and processes associated with education abroad. This module will cover the basic academic policies you need to be aware of, differences in teaching and grading styles overseas, meeting with your academic advisor, and everything you need to know about credits and registration. As a study abroad student, you are in a unique situation. You are still matriculating at the University of Maryland while also visiting a host institution for a given term. That said, you are expected to adhere to the academic policies of both your host institution and the University of Maryland. Let's review some of the most important policies that may affect you. The grading policy is simple. You cannot take any class on a pass, fail, or audit basis. You are expected to attend all scheduled class meetings and final exams. Each host institution has its own exam schedule, which may not match up with the traditional academic calendar at the University of Maryland. Make sure you check your program materials for your program dates because final exams are mandatory. Additionally, you are still held to Maryland's Code of Academic Integrity while participating on your study abroad program. If you are planning on taking a language class, it is important to keep Maryland's language policy in mind, which states, credit will only be granted for language courses taken at or above the level of language already received at the University of Maryland. Credit will not be awarded for repeated courses or courses at a level lower than that already received at the University of Maryland. You will likely be required to take a placement test upon arrival despite completing language classes here on campus. Placement into specific language levels cannot be guaranteed by the University of Maryland. Lastly, it is important for you to familiarize yourself with the academic catalog to make sure you're aware of all the requirements for your major and minor. The academic catalog is your primary resource regarding all academic policies for Maryland students. You may find that for many institutions and programs outside of the U.S., there is often not much formal homework assigned during the semester. However, it is very important to stay proactive with your studies in order to pass the comprehensive final exams. Your final grade in a class may rely on very few assignments or entirely on the final exam. Your professor may not check on your progress or assignments each week, but don't leave all of your studying until the last minute. Grading at institutions outside of the U.S. is also known for being much more difficult. Earning the equivalent of an A or B is often reserved for the top 10 or 20% of the class. Doing the minimum that is required of you will not earn you a top grade. Before you depart, you want to make sure that you have researched the educational system of your host country and sought information from others who have attended programs in your study abroad destination. It is also a good idea to seek out the international students here at the University of Maryland who may be from your host country to learn more about their experience in the classroom. An additional difference is that studying abroad provides you with the unique opportunity to use the world as your classroom, in a very literal sense. You are encouraged to take advantage of courses that use your host city as a classroom whenever possible.
My favorite class was a public art class where I walked around the city with my professor and my class, and she was a master on the graffiti and the public art of Barcelona, and while that's usually a taboo thing to talk about, she really talked about it as a form of art, and so that really expanded my knowledge and awareness of public art, just walking around DC. So that was really a great class, and so different from my classes in Maryland because I haven't taken a class at Maryland where I could just leave with my class and walk around the city and really appreciate what the city had. So that was great. And the classes when I was studying abroad in Barcelona were smaller than my classes here at Maryland, and that was really beneficial for me because I already took such a great step out of my comfort zone by going to Spain, not speaking any Spanish, so it was really nice to have a small class and get to know my peers in my class. So I could talk to them during lunch breaks or outside of class, and the setup was just really beneficial for me and making me feel comfortable in this new country.
At this point, we hope you have already discussed your plans to study abroad with your academic advisor at least once. It's important for you to know how studying abroad fits into your overall academic plan. Ultimately, you are only required to meet with your academic advisor at one point during the study abroad process, and that is as you complete the course approval form. This mandatory process involves you identifying the specific courses you intend to take while studying abroad and getting your academic advisor to acknowledge how those courses will apply towards your graduation requirements. Your academic advisor's signature is required on the course pre-approval form to make sure your education abroad experience does not hinder your education. You will begin the course approval process after you have been accepted to a study abroad program. You will learn more about this process from your program advisor or coordinator. Resident credit applies to courses that will show up on your University of Maryland registration and for which you will receive a grade that is factored into your cumulative GPA. Resident credit classes will appear on your University of Maryland transcript just as if you had taken those courses here in College Park. Courses that are not available for resident credit may be accepted as transfer credit as long as they have been approved by Education Abroad and your academic and college advisors. Equivalence for transfer credits and applicability to your degree will be determined by your academic advisor through the course pre-approval process. The grades for transfer credit courses are not factored into your cumulative GPA. However, you must receive the equivalent of a C- or above in a given class in order to earn transfer credit for a course. Only the credit you've earned will appear on your official records. Even though the grades for transfer credit do not appear on your Maryland transcript, you may still have to provide your foreign transcript to future universities or employers, so make sure you're still striving for good grades. If you are not attending a University of Maryland study abroad program, an exchange, or a UMD partner program, it is your responsibility to tell your study abroad program or university where to send your official transcript after the semester has ended so that your transfer credit can be processed.